All right, let's try this again. This is take 2 of our week 3 October video. I hit some button, you guys, and fortunately I hadn't made it very far in the first one. So let's do this again. Welcome to week 3 in the studio. Monday and Tuesday classes. You guys are actually still doing your week 2 projects and steps and lessons, and I'll remind you when we get to those sections. But our Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, people, it is week 3 of October. Believe it or not, it is week 3 of October. As a reminder, if you are catching the replay, you can just watch the timestamps. So go ahead and just watch the intro, watch the timestamp section about your kids' classes, and then watch housekeeping, and you'll have everything you need in what you know what's going on in the studio. I've got different examples to show you today. I'm going to show you some clay projects that are in progress, and I've got some sketchbooks from our drawing classes. All right, so let's see if this works this time and I don't end my broadcast. I want to talk a little bit about this week's classes. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, if you come into those classes, you guys are fine this week. We'll see you in class. But if you are in a Friday class in Liberty Public Schools have the day off, so we are taking it off as well. So Creative Explorations, Preschool Fundamentals in Liberty on Friday, it is your off day. So don't come to the studio. We will wrap your month of October next week. That's it. Let's dive in. All right, here we go. In our preschool fundamentals classes, so if you are in a Monday or a Tuesday class, you are going to be reading The Perfect Square by Michael Hall. That is the week 2 lesson that we talked about in last week's video as well. We're going to get little teeny pieces of squares and get to make art in our journal with some paper squares, kind of following along with what happens in the book to our perfect square. We're also going to paint our clay bowls. And then what else we do? Oh, we're painting with strings. I have to look at my notes when I'm trying to remember 2 weeks at a time. So we're painting with strings. So my Thursday people and my Friday people, you guys did all of that last week. Thursday people, you guys will be reading Elmer, which is our last book of our month. We're going to make some patchwork collage art and finish up those clay bowls this week and then continue with our creative playstations. Thursday people, this is your last class of the month. That's what happens when the October 2nd was the first class, right? And you only meet 3 times. We wrap up really early in the month and you'll actually have a couple weeks off. But Friday people, no class this week. Okay, and then we'll see you next week to do Elmer and to finish up your month of October classes. For my K-3 artists, so we're working with clay, right? All multimedia classes are working with clay. Thursday classes last week had week 2's lesson, and so they built their projects with clay. Remember in week 1, we just played with clay. We learned about the properties of clay. We brainstormed what we might build. We did a lot of playing. We looked at a slideshow for inspiration. And then in week 2, we came in and we actually built what we want to keep. So I brought a couple things from the closet here in Liberty. Now, these are not finished. Like they're drying and I can feel them. They're still kind of cold to the touch, which means there's a little bit of moisture in them, but they should be good to go by Thursday to paint. So and I'm going to try to show them. 3D is really hard to show on a camera, but you can see they are building pinch pots. This is a really simple pinch pot. This artist did a good job of getting her wall, like the outer wall of really consistent, like there's not really chunky parts and then really skinny parts. And then they've added, using a slipping and scoring method, they've added pieces to the outside. Here's another really great example. I carefully put that down. And if I put this up close to the camera, I hope you can see all of the texture that's happening on here. And again, a really great wall thickness. So that is 2 examples of our pinch pots made by K-3 artists. Now that I've got like just piles and piles of them back there, but I just grabbed 2 to show you some different ones. There are ones that are different shapes. There are ones that have things like attached to them, things that are punched in them, things that are scraped and textured. They all look different. In week 3, so if you're a Thursday artist and you're coming to week 3, you guys are going to be painting those this week. So we're going to get out the acrylic paints and get a good coat of paint on those. Do wear your old clothes because acrylic paint is not a washable paint. I want to make sure that we're not ruining any really great school outfits, okay? If you're in week 2, so Monday and Tuesday artists, you guys will be building this week. So you haven't built anything to keep yet, but that's what's happening this week. For my 4th and 5th grade artists, and I couldn't find any pictures. I was out of town last week, you guys, and so it took me a while. Like normally I process photos every week or every day when the instructors send them to me, and so I have a really great catalog of which pictures go with which classes and which days. And I didn't do it until this weekend, and then I was totally confused. So I didn't want to mess it up and put like a 6th grader on a 4th, 5th slide. So I was like, it's better to just not do it than do it wrong. So I don't have any pictures that I'm confident were from those classes, and so I didn't do them. But I did want to show you some of their artwork. So 4th and 5th, similar to K-thirds. If you are in a Thursday class, then you built your clay creature last week. Remember, week 1 was when we just played with it. We got ideas. We reviewed the properties of clay, how to join pieces of clay. They saw how much clay they were actually going to get, because we weighed it out and measured it out so that they kind of could figure out and problem solve what they could make with this amount of clay. And then in week 2, which was last week for Thursday people, they actually built. My Monday and Tuesday people, you guys will be building this week because this is your week 2. So let me show you some from the Thursday. They had wide open on what they wanted to build. This is an adorable little, I'm going to go with alicorn because it's got a horn and wings. Sometimes I get it wrong and my kids will correct me. Super cute. Here's another little creature. You can see he's on 2 legs and then he has a base, which is a really great problem solving, right? Because anytime you're going to have something stand on just 2 feet, it's not quite as stable, but they have built a base for their creature. And so now he is standing on a platform. So I think I mentioned in the first video, that's where I really struggle with sculpture is gravity. So I love that this gives them an opportunity to solve that problem. That whatever our vision is has to actually exist in the real world and has to follow all of the natural law properties. So if you're in a Thursday class, these guys will get their first coat of paint this week. So wear your old art clothes. We'll get out the acrylic paint that are not washable, and we'll get some paint on them. Again, Monday, Tuesday, people, you guys are building this week. 6th, 7th, and 8th, 12th. Remember, I'm making these canopic inspired jars. So it's 2 pieces. It's a top and a bottom. So I wanted to show you some of the things we have happening this week. Now, this is from Thursday class. So they have got their whole thing built top and bottom. We built the bottoms in week 1. And we built the tops in week 2. And they fit together. And they will start painting this week. There's an example of one. I've got one more example here. Be really careful with people's clay pieces, especially when they're drying. They feel exceptionally fragile when they're just drying. So there's another one. This one has some paper towels on it. I don't know why, but I'm not going to touch it because there's got to be a reason. But see, a little canopic jar. I love the different stature. This one's like almost like a square shape or ball shape as opposed to one that's really tall. So 6th, 7th, 8th, 12th. For Thursday people who are at this step, they've already got their top and their bottom. They will paint this week. So wear your old art clothes because acrylic paints aren't washable. They have a lot of surfaces to paint, between the inside and the outside. And we do want to get all of the clay covered because that's what helps protect it. Getting that plasticky paint coating on the outside will really protect it since we aren't firing it. It is an air dry clay. Okay. So they'll have 2 weeks to paint. If you're in a Monday or a Tuesday class for this age group, you guys have already got your bottoms sculpted, and then you will be sculpting the top half or top third or whatever it ends up being. You'll be doing that this week. Creative explorations. Another reminder here, if you come to the Friday class in Liberty, we don't have class this week. Okay, you guys will finish up your month next week. If you are in the Wednesday class at Flatwoods, your last class is this week. Okay, and I brought some clay pieces. So our creative explorations kids have also gotten to do clay in their media focus. Remember, this is a process art class. But that doesn't mean they don't ever make anything. They absolutely can make stuff. It's just not led by an instructor where we're like, okay, everybody's going to make a clay creature. Everybody's going to make a pinch pot. It's not led that way. The materials are out and we try to put some inspiration pieces around it, and what they make is totally up to them. So I brought some clay pieces. They've had 2 class periods already. So they built in week 1, and you can see we've got some painting happening in week 2. We've got a little kind of a ring dish or pot that has been painted. I like showing this because none of the other ones were painted yet this week. So this is our acrylic paint. It's a heavy body acrylic, and it's made by Hobby Lobby. It's student grade, but I like how shiny it is, and I love all the colors that it comes in. Here's another really example. I think it goes this way. But so we got one little, I don't know if they're done painting because I don't teach this class, but we've at least got one coat of paint on there. We will work to get the bottom painted as well, even if it's just painted with white, or painted with, or we could spray it also with an acrylic, but we want to get it covered somehow with some sort of sealant, whether it's paint or a spray. Okay. Last class for Wednesday, people, this week to do these stations. And then next time you come, it'll be November, and we'll have new stations for you and new media and all of that fun stuff. Again, Friday, people, no class this week. We'll see you next week, and that'll be your last class. Okay, let's look at some drawing stuff. Now, I didn't bring any treasure maps to show you, but there's some really cute pictures. For our Drawing 101 kids, if you were in a Thursday class, you guys got to do the week 3 or week 2 lesson, which was treasure maps. This is working on a different viewpoint. Anytime we move our perspective as the viewer, right, then that changes the viewpoint. And you can be a bird's eye view right over the top. You can be a worm's eye view. We can be really, really low. Your viewpoint can change. And so we were working on that and drawing treasure maps and learning what a bird's eye view was. We also talked a lot about symbolism and like how we represent something. Rather than drawing it realistically, how do we represent something in a picture? And because it's October, we have pirate costumes. That's Drawing 101 class. In Drawing 101, oh wait, I should, hang on, let's really quick. If you I get so excited. If you're in Drawing 101 class on Monday or Tuesday, then you did week 1's lesson, which was the bats, the charcoal reductive bat drawings. Thursday, people, you guys are going to move on to your week 3 lesson this week. And that's going to be drawing pumpkins and turning them into jack-o'-lanterns. So we're going to look at, we actually have pumpkins in the studio that we use as a reference, as a still life. So we've got pumpkins for you to look at. They're going to draw those, and then I think we're using oil pastels. Nope, chalk pastels. We're going to use chalk pastels to draw those pumpkins, and then we will turn them into jack-o'-lanterns from our imagination. Okay. If you're in Monday or Tuesday's Drawing 101 classes, you will do this lesson right here with the treasure maps this week, and then the pumpkin jack-o'-lantern lesson will be next week. Now we can move on. Drawing 102 Advanced Realistic. If you're these are pictures from Monday and Tuesday lessons, so this is actually the charcoal bat reductive drawings for week 1's lesson. I know, I gotta like wrap my brain around it. Liberty doesn't have any advanced realistic classes that meet on Thursday, so we don't have anybody that is like already on to week 3, if that makes sense. So these are the pictures that I have and the journals I have as well. Oh, look, here's one. Like, isn't that awesome? This is from Tuesday's class. So is the reductive drawing. This is week 1's pictures. If you're in a Thursday class, then last week's class, you did a pumpkin still life where you got to look at the pumpkins and draw them in chalk pastels. If you're in a Monday, Tuesday class, you will do that lesson this week. And you'll do your still life where we have something actually in front of us and we're drawing from observation and we're drawing those pumpkins in chalk pastels. If you're in a Thursday class, we're moving on to week 3's lesson, which is another linear perspective lesson. So we're going to grab out the rulers and we're going to grab the ink pens and we're going to be drawing, last time we drew an interior room using the rules of linear perspective. Now we're going to move out to the outside of a house and we'll draw haunted houses using those same rules of 1 and 2 point perspective. All right, I got to switch up my stuff here. Miss Grace pulled some journals for me because she's amazing. So for my week 2 illustrative people, I'm sorry, I got to carefully move the coffee mug. All right, week 2 illustrative class. If you're in Thursday's class, it was the hands and feet lesson. So we pulled out some journals and working on hands and feet. If you're in Monday, Tuesday, you did head, faces, and hair, right? But the hands and feet is the week 2 lesson. So here's a great example of that. Here's another one. You can see the different styles that happen, right? So up here, we've got like the glove hand, right? Like a mitten hand. And then here we've got kind of more of a comic style where it's a little bit more realistic, less cartoony. Both are illustrative. They're just different styles. And so we have a huge spectrum of styles that we can draw on when we're doing this illustrative type class. Right? One is not better than the other. They're just different. And knowing the kind of anatomy, right, of a realistic hand will help you draw it in an illustrative style, right? Having to abstract something is actually trickier than drawing it realistically, right? Because you got to know where to start. Right, so these are the hands and feet lesson that they did. If you're in a Monday or Tuesday class, this is the lesson that you do this week. All right, for my Thursday people, you guys are moving into week 3's lesson, and that is a figures in motion lesson. So this is where we start to put the body. We've already done head spaces and hair. We've already done hands and feet. Now we're going to pretty much do everything in the middle. And we're going to try to put that figure into motion and into dynamic poses. We've got some really great comic style mannequins that we use to represent that, as well as just some generic wooden mannequins. Again, we'll talk about the properties that make up a human figure in realism, and then we will abstract it and turn it into a more illustrative style. All right. Gently clicking the button. Let's look at 103 stuff. I didn't bring 102 realistic because they're big, right? They're working on a poster size, but I did, Grace grabbed me some 103 illustrative so I could show you what we have going on here. So they have 2 parts to their project. They're looking at the art of Charles Schulz, which is the creator of Peanuts, and they're designing characters in that style. And then they're creating trading cards for those characters and a 3 kind of panel story or comic strip. So I wanted to show you some of the trading cards that we have happening. So a lot of really fun little cards. These will get inked. They may or may not get colored. Not all of the Peanut kind of inspired artwork is actually colored, so we may stay with just black and white ink. These will get laminated, which I think will be fun for their little trading cards. Some of them may actually do stuff on the back if they have time. And then we have the comic strips. So we're working on some storytelling here. Lots of good stuff in our 103 class. Love it. You can see most of them. Now my 103 class, this I think is, I don't know what day this is. I don't know if this is Thursday or Monday, because Grace pulled it. But they've got to get it inked at least. So this might be Thursdays because they've got a good start on everything. But they'll need to get it inked here in week 3 so that we can finish in week 4. Okay. All right, a little bit of housekeeping, and then we will move on. I'm going to grab my notes. So I've got my reminder here that there is no class on Friday here in Liberty. We'll send email reminders as well. Probably tomorrow. I like to do it fairly early in the week, but not too early. So there's no class on Friday here in Liberty, Creative Explorations and Preschool Fundamentals. And then the next note, fall party's coming up this Sunday. So that is invited, like anybody who takes classes here in the studio in the month of October. It's a free event for you and your family. It's not a drop-off event. So like, don't bring your kids and leave. You get to stay. We do food. So I provide hot dogs and chips and water and Halloween candy. And then we invite people to bring a pot of chili. I believe there's still room for the chili cook-off. If you bring a crock pot of chili, you are entered to win. It's people's choice voting, and it's half price off your tuition for the spring semester. So, I mean, it's a good deal because the spring semester is 5 months, not 4 months. And so it's a more expensive semester. So if you're interested in possibly winning that, bring a pot of chili and we'll throw your name in the hat. So that's 1 winner per studio, and you vote. We just give everybody a ballot when they arrive and they vote for their favorite chili. So I've got little taster cups, and it's a super fun event. It is BYOP, but it is optional. So bring your own pumpkin if you would like to decorate or carve, but you do not have to decorate or carve. You are more than welcome to just come and visit and eat and enjoy the community, okay? And people ask me, like, what do you bring for a pumpkin? And whatever pumpkin you want to bring. What I've told the kids is I need you to be able to carry it because that's not fair to your parent. So, nothing like so big that nobody can carry it. But I mean, you can bring the little mini ones and paint it. That's fine too. It doesn't need to be big. You can carve it, you can glitter it, you can paint it, whatever. We'll have all the stations set up and then you can do that. It looks like the weather's going to be lovely. I'm excited for that. If you are in Liberty, though, please dress for weather. We are a smaller building and we do not all fit in the building. So doors will be wide open, patio will be open, everything will be open. We will be both inside and outside. So do make sure that you dress for, if it's chilly outside, it'll be chilly in the studio. Okay. All right. But the deadline is tomorrow. So that's the most important part. The deadline is tomorrow to RSVP. I need that count so I know how much hot dog math I need to do. So I got to figure out like how many hot dogs, how many hot dog buns, how many bags of chips, all this stuff. Okay. So make sure you RSVP for that. Couple notes on holiday stuff. This is just a teaser. You're going to start to see some things. I think the first post for holidays went out last week, and there will be some more stuff coming. But just so you know, the holiday gift guide is coming out this year. That's a 20-ish page PDF magazine thing that has links in it. So if you're like, I don't even know what type of colored pencils I should buy my kid for Christmas, it has all of our recommendations in it and our like what we actually use in the studio and why we love it. So that is so close to being done. I think I have like 3 more pages to make, but that'll be ready to drop on November 1st. So if you want that, you can sign up to get that. There's also 3 different promotions happening. One is for gift cards. And so if you are like, I'm talking to all my regular people, right? But if you're like, gosh, I think this would be a great gift for grandma to give next semester is to give a semester of art classes as opposed to, you paying for it in your normal everyday budget. I've got a web page designed. It hasn't been promoted yet, but it will. I've got a web page designed that actually has the amounts for all of the spring semester tuition so they can buy a gift card for that. And then we're offering a complimentary like gift bag. So so they have something to open. Otherwise it's just an e-card, right? But it's going to have an orange easel, like little lapel pin in it. It's going to have a little sketchbook in it, some stickers. So that way they have something to open, as well as a little note from the instructors and things. So a little gift bag, you can request that for gift cards over 200 if you want it. So we're offering that for the holiday season. We're also offering Creation Nation memberships that are gift memberships, meaning they're not a reoccurring billing. They're like a flat 6 months or 12 months, and then they don't reoccur. So a gift membership is an option for the Creation Nation Art Club. And that also has a little physical package that goes with it. So if you buy that, then we'll contact you and find out, like, because I don't anticipate selling like hundreds of them. So we'll contact you and ask, like, do you want me to mail it to you? Do you want me to mail it to them? When do you want me to mail it? All of that stuff, right? Because I don't want to ruin anybody's surprises. So, but that one has some stickers in it and different Creation Nation stuff. And the last one is the apparel. So we have Orange Easel apparel. This is one of them, but it's kind of messed up on the green screen. But we have Orange Easel and artist apparel that we print on demand and ship. So, and I say I don't do anything with it. The magic of drop shipping. So, but I do pay for the website. So, but I designed the apparel but it prints on demand and it ships out and you have until December 10th if you're like interested in a shirt that says Roy G. Biv on it or a color outside the lines or whatever. So all of that is available, or water bottles, different things on the website. So all of that'll be coming soon. As you're thinking about holiday stuff, just know that we are also thinking about holiday stuff and all of the sales that come with it. So those are the deals and holiday things that are coming down the pipe. There's also holiday classes that are coming up. If anybody's looking for something special to do on a Saturday morning, I think we have 3 of those at each studio. And then there's a winter break camp, like a mini camp at each studio. So registration isn't open for any of those yet. I think it opens soon though. I'll have to look at that, but it should be soon. Tomorrow, next week, something like that. So, all right. I think that's it, you guys. I don't think I can have anything else. I guess I should look at my housekeeping notes. I think that's it. thanks so much for tuning in and for listening to me, and all of the things that are happening in the studio. We are so lucky to have you guys in our artist community. We hope that we see you Sunday at the fall party. I know our instructors are excited. It's one of anytime we get the group together, like the whole community together, it's so special. It really is. So it ends up being some of our favorite times of the year between this and the art show. Just amazing. So we hope we get to see you on Sunday. Don't forget to RSVP so I make sure I have enough hot dogs. I hate when I run out of hot dogs. And then if you need anything from me, let me know. Talk to you soon.